Well, it looks a little different than normal. UCSS is remote today as we get a brand new vMix system. Our computer crashed yesterday morning. We have bought a brand new computer. IT said it's going to take a day or two to put in everything they need to install it and fix it. So for at least today and possibly tomorrow, we will be on remote. But we still got a show for you guys. 2 hours coming at you. Starts right now. Welcome in, everybody. Mikey McNuggets alongside G. Bush, Dustin Fox, and Tyvis Powell coming at you from all across the greater Ohio area. Dustin, have you made it back from Buffalo? Are you actually in Ohio before I lie to the people?
Yeah, no, I'm back. In fact, I got back last night after the game. My son and I went to the Bills Monday Night Football game, and we left probably like mid fourth quarter because it was an awesome blowout win for the Bills. And we got back like 1:30. And here we are, 11 a.m.
Tyvis, you got saved from a 2-hour drive up from Columbus. It's only a 1 or 2 day fix, but I'm guessing you'd be pretty okay with going remote more often.
It's not bad at all because, once I get done, obviously, like I'm home. But, you brought up a very interesting point. You was like, if you want to get the crispy chicken, the funny thing is, so you know how usually I work in Cleveland Tuesdays and in Columbus Tuesday night, I do the radio station. Well, just ironically, I didn't have to do the radio station tonight. So I was going to go to the Crispy Chick and get me some food after the show because I wasn't in a rush to get back home. And yeah, this messed that up. But it's cool, though. It's cool.
G. Bush, we don't have a full studio to show off your shoes, but are you still rocking and competing with Dustin and Tyvis even in a remote setting today?
Nah, man, listen, today we rocking in shells today. Only shells.
It's a Thursday practice? What's going on?
Shells. We're not doing no full padded practice today. Listen, I even told my studio producer, man, you can leave. My mic levels are good. You know what I'm saying? I'm just chilling.
Hold on, my studio producer? What the hell is going on over there?
It's his wife, right? It has to be.
You got a stage manager behind you as well?
Yeah, look, count me down. You got to, bro. Hey, 4, 3, 2. You're on, G.
G, can I ask, is you ever gonna do a show without glasses?
He's done one.
I've done one, but
no, he is not.
I'm gonna just tell you this: all my glasses prescription, all of them. So like all my joints, you know what I'm saying? My Gucci's, all them joints.
You designer with it now.
These is prescriptions. So you know what I'm saying? I got sensitivity to light. I take a lot of medication, Tyvis. So them bright lights really give me like headaches and migraines. That's how I got a shield back in the early 2000s.
So you was rocking the dark visor?
Man, listen.
Back in the day, if you could rock that dark visor, like you had to know somebody. Like that was like the
you had to know the EQ guy. You had to know somebody. Man,
because, listen, when I was in the league, they said you could wear the clear one. The only way you could wear the dark visor is you got to have a doctor's note saying that you need a tinted one. And I used to
exactly.
How is you doing that?
Shout out to Dr. Huddleston, man. Listen, he take care of me, bro. He just send the script. No, nothing else needed. Just sit. Shout out to you,
Dustin. Did you ever rock the dark visor?
So I did one spring, my senior year of spring football, because I had like a really bad concussion. And so, I mean, that was serious, but I used it to be able to get a dark visor. But they never let me use it during the season, man. They let me wear it for spring ball. And then, I mean, I look badass too, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, I look like them dudes.
I had one in practice. They let us wear them in practice, but in the game, no, sir.
Let me tell you this.
And I was looking like them. Hey, G. Bush, I was looking like one of them dudes. And remember the show Playmakers?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was looking like one of them dudes.
If you're a white corner with a shield, like, and y'all got the Nike deal, come on, bro.
Dustin had swag, bro. Like he was right with the dark
Nike. He out there. He out there in the Andre Agassi's.
I'm gonna send Tyvis a picture, man. I was rocking the Jordan wristbands before everybody else.
The OG.
Oh, really?
See,
I'll send you a picture.
Hey, Dustin was that dude.
All right, guys.
Come on
We may be remote. We still have a full show for you. We got Mary Kay and Aditi both coming on in a little bit. We're going to talk some offensive line issues, some defensive back struggles against the Giants, and we'll start with the quarterback play after a quick word from FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook sponsor of the NFL. Dustin and Tyvis weren't with us yesterday when we broke down the Giants game, so I wanted to start with this question to allow them to kind of give us their all-encompassing thoughts on Deshaun Watson, how the line played before we talk about the loss of Wyatt Teller. But Tyvis, I'll start with you. Based on the performance from the offensive line against the Giants, do you think really any quarterback in the NFL could thrive under those circumstances, or was the line play so bad it would completely diminish any quarterback's ability to play at such a high level to win a game like that?
I mean, listen, I know everybody loves to throw out the Joe Burrow thing, that Joe went to the Super Bowl and his line wasn't that great, and, it would just change. It depends on who the coach is in these situations. You got to come up with a game plan that allows you to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand. Deshaun has to realize that, listen, my line ain't great. It's just what it is. I only got 3 seconds at the most to get rid of this ball. So my reads got to be quick. Pre-snap is very important. And you got to know you got to have a plan once you say hike. You got to know where you're going with the ball. You got to do it quick. I understand that Deshaun was one of those players that loved to hold on to the football. He loved to break tackles, scramble around, throw the ball deep. And that was what made him special. But right now you just don't have the Johns and the Joes to do that right now. So to answer your question, yeah, it's some quarterbacks that thrive. It's some ways that you can do it. Think about the Steelers. The Steelers offensive line is not that great, but they do a great job of moving the pocket for Justin Fields. So he's rolling out and doing things like that just to buy him some extra time, which Kevin Stefanski got to in the fourth quarter of the game, which is a little bit too late, but he figured out what he needed to do. So yeah, he could be successful. I don't know how. He's not like he's gonna go for 4,500 yards like GB talking about, but it's ways around this.
Dustin?
No, there is. I think Tyvis hit on a great point, and that's getting rid of the football quickly. There's just not enough time. With this offensive line, and now with Teller going to be out for who knows how long. I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's something where the Browns offensively need to start doing something to put Deshaun in a position where he can get rid of the ball faster. Last year, this offense, I mean, I know it was a little healthier than it was, or it is right now. And David Njoku's not healthy, so that hurts tremendously for this offense. But I just think it's got to be quick game. Unfortunately, we don't have Nick Chubb right now, so we can't just totally rely upon the running game. Even though, Ford kind of had some moments in that game on Sunday, I just don't think that this sort of way we're playing offense is sustainable. You cannot sit back there and drop Deshaun Watson back 5-step, 7-step drop and expect these guys on the edge to hold up. They're just not going to be able to do it. And Dawand Jones specifically, and G. Bush can probably speak about this. I always rely on G. Bush. He's the big man on the show that played the line. So I don't know. The line's not getting better is the point. And Deshaun's, he played okay in this game. I thought he made some throws, but I also think he missed a lot of gimmies that he would love to have back, like easy slants, some throws that have to be made, because I think he's starting to see ghosts. And I can't blame him, frankly. I understand how difficult it can be for him to be back there and the pressure that he's facing. And it's probably easy for him to say, gosh, this stinks. This sucks. I can't do anything. But it is what it is. There's been lots of quarterbacks that have played behind bad offensive lines, and you sort of have to just deal with what you got. And then it's also on Kevin Stefanski to try and put Deshaun in better position so he's not forced to sit back there like a sitting duck.
G?
Man, I thought both of y'all had some very, very down to earth points. And it was so bad. I called McNuggets. And I called him. And I was like, "Yo, you know, Tyvis." Listen, I'll be watching film. I'll be like, "Yo, what's this, man?" I'll be watching it, and then I call people like, "Hey, listen, I seen somebody in the cover 3. Let me ask you this question on this. I watched y'all 22 finally, and it was so bad that I made my parents watch it because I wanted to witness that somebody else was witnessing what I was seeing. I was like, "Am I tripping here?" Like, I don't want to wild out and be like, "Oh, that's just G. Bush being over the top. You Duke and need jerk." So I'm looking at it, and then I had to call McNuggets. There are guys up front right now, and we'll get to Watson too, because you are right, Dustin. I've charted 3 or 4 throws in that game. One of them was Amari Cooper. There was another one that he skipped to Jerry Jeudy.
Oh yeah, you remember that Amari one early in the third quarter, or in the third quarter, missed him.
I'm looking at the one to Elijah Moore. Me and McNuggets talked about this.
Sailed it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if he sailed it. I don't know what he was looking, miscommunication, but I'm putting that one there. So there's throws out there to be had that he missed that he would want back. But up front, Dawand Jones, listen, I'm sorry to say this about the Buckeye brethren. I was high on Dawand Jones. Right now, he's not playing like a professional player. He's playing like he's from the USFL. He's about 100 pounds. He needs to lose about 100. I mean, he's not even out of his stance. He's not even getting to the kick slide, Tyvis. He's not even getting there.
No.
Guys are blowing past him. Jed Wills looks like, I don't know if he's still hurt, but when he was out there, he was watching guys walk right past him 3-4 times. I'm like, Jed, you just pick one of them. They're all coming. They're all showing up. Just pick me one of them. Joe Bitonio looks like, now, ironically, Joe Bitonio looks a lot better at left tackle than he did at guard. Maybe it was the fight or flight, but Bitonio looked better at left tackle because, at least he had a little bit more time to throw. I don't know if they were blitzing still as much as they did in the first part. But Joe inside looks like he lost a step more than a step. Ethan Pochich looks like he's confused. He was getting ragdolled around. Now, listen, Dexter Lawrence is a man-child, but he was doing him. He was just, how they be saying, never shake a baby? They was doing that to Ethan Pochich. Never shake a baby. And getting him up out of here. It was the worst, and I don't say this lightly. It was the worst offensive line play I've ever seen, and that includes my team's getting blown out in the MAC by like Florida or Minnesota or something like that. The worst. Like, it was that bad. And I couldn't believe it. I had to call McNuggets because I could not believe what I was seeing. It was just, I don't know. It just seemed like they didn't want to play.
G and I talked for about 30 minutes as I was driving to basketball last night. I drove right past the crispy chick, thought of you on each way as I was passing by. And G's like, I know you watched some of it because you posted some of these clips already. And it's worse than I remember. Like, it's bad as I thought it was, and then even worse. And we started talking about a few specific plays. Gee, I wish we had a whiteboard or ability to draw, but the Browns' inability to block a stunt right now is
it's
catastrophically bad.
It's terrible. I was actually watching that on the blitzes. It's like the funny part is, so don't get me wrong, I never in my life play offensive line. The closest to the O-line I've ever been is punt protection. That's where you got a kick slide. That's the closest. And I know that, which is similar. It's very similar because you got a kick slide at all of these things. So I know that you got to hold the most important part is the guy on the inside. When I tell you they be blitzing, they let the inside man go
all
to
the time
outside. And I'll be like, what are you doing? Like, at the worst, if I remember correctly, at worst, you always block inside out and let the widest guy, the quarterback's responsible for the widest guy. He knows that it's coming, so he's got to get the ball out of his hand. They be letting the inside dudes go. I maybe the running back's supposed to pick it up. I don't know what it is, but it blows my mind that they do this.
Dustin, you played on special teams. You were kick sliding at one point in time. Everybody knows that when you're talking about the quickest path to the quarterback is in A gaps right up the middle. You funnel everything to the outside, and then you'll let the quarterback, if he can't block those people, he knows he has to throw hot. He knows he can't get.
Well, I mean, listen, this is very similar to what we saw, frankly, against Baker Mayfield in a lot of ways when he was here. The pressure in the middle is one of the things that I think bothers quarterbacks probably a lot more than pressure off the edge, because at least the quarterbacks that have experience are comfortable enough to step up in the pocket. Like literally, you let the defensive ends run the whole deal. I mean, you run them upfield essentially, and you can push them by and allow, like, same thing on punt team when I played the wing and I'm coming back and I got guys rushing off the end. I'm kick slide, push, and honestly, like if they want a speed rush, I'll push them right past the punter, and that should be the same thing for the right or left tackle when they're facing a speed rush on the outside. They've got to do a better job of that. I mean, like Dawand Jones on several times. I mean, like Thibodeau was just already 2 steps past him, and he's like a spectator, like just watching his quarterback get sacked.
Yeah, multiple times. He couldn't, and I know it. I don't know if it's, and a lot of those guys up there look 2 or 3 steps slow, but that's because I'll give, if their excuse is valid, all of them had surgery and all of them did not have an opportunity to play in preseason. So when you are that big, trust me, like I know when you get to a certain weight, you just feel it. I know what, like, there's different weights. There's different sizes of weights. It's like Dragon Ball Z. It's like the different versions of Majin Buu. Like, listen, bro, it's skinny Buu, it's medium-sized Buu, then it's big Buu. By the time you get to big Buu, you be walking in the grocery store and your back be hurting. You be like, why is my lower back hurting? You be moving around. All of a sudden, your ankles, your shoes don't fit right. Your feet be swollen. Like,
but what, though? You know what I'm interested in? Because you're talking about him getting bigger. I really think that the Bill Callahan thing holds more weight than not. Because if you remember, we'll have Mary Kay on. Mary Kay will know, because remember the first OTAs last year with Dawand. He didn't make it through the practice. Like he didn't.
Nope.
Yeah, he didn't make it. And Bill stayed on him so hard to help him lose that weight and help him get into shape. And I don't know Andy Dickerson. I never had any we never crossed paths. But when I think about Bill, I think about a guy that's actually all successful offensive line coaches that I've always encountered was these hard-nosed dudes that stayed on their dude. Like it wasn't no chill. It was like, y'all gonna get it done. And we like they was the loudest people in practice. The coach was the loudest, cussing them out, making sure that they was on their assignment.
Talk that.
And I don't know Andy Dickerson. I don't know if he is or he isn't. But
that ain't him.
I'm leaning towards that he isn't, because there's no way that these guys went from what they were last year to what they are currently. Like, don't get me wrong, I know guys are banged up, but last year they was banged up. We know about the Wyatt Teller and the Joe Batonio dealing with all kind of injuries, but they never looked this bad. So I'm interested in what's going on. What is Andy Dickerson doing to get these guys prepared? Because whatever it is not working right now. And you got to go back and reassess that. And if you're a head coach, Kevin, like, if you need to be in there, you need to be in that meeting room or whatever the case may be. But you got to get these guys going, because this season rides or dies with that right now. Like, you can't do anything. Your whole playbook is hampered because you can't protect a quarterback. Like, that's terrible to me. Like, it's sad.
Tyvis, I don't know Andy Dickerson either, obviously. But if you go back and listen to Wyatt Teller during training camp, he was asked about the difference between Callahan and Andy Dickerson. And he said Callahan was old school, super tough in your face. Dickerson's a lot more laid back, chill. And I'm curious if when you have a head coach that has that persona, do your position coaches kind of have to be a little more fiery to counterbalance it so it's not such a laid back, relaxed environment? Or can you, I guess, succeed, for lack of a better term, if a lot of your coaches have the same kind of temperament and it's all the more passive side?
You got it. How it usually, honestly, and this is my personal opinion. The head coach got to be the dictator. He got to be the guy that everybody feels. Mm-hmm. And when the position coaches may be a little bit more cooler, but the head coach, he sets the mentality of the team. And obviously, Kevin is a much laid back guy. Doesn't seem like he's that over aggressive guy like that. So already off the boat. They was already at a hamper. You can't let the position creep. It has to be one or the other. Like somebody has to be the guy that's hard nosed. You can't have everybody just be relaxed. Oh, don't worry about it. You'll get it the next time. No, players got to understand the importance. It has to be live or die. Like your job depends on this. Your family can't eat if you don't get this done. Like that's how serious it has to be for the players to execute in the game.
Ask Dustin. See, Dustin and Tyvis both won championships, right? Now, believe me, if I'm correct, Mark D'Antonio was he still the defensive back coach for you?
So D'Antonio was our coordinator when we won the title in 2002, and my secondary coach was Mel Tucker, who obviously ended up going on to be a head coach.
And so these dudes, Tyvis was under Urban Meyer, and so let me just tell y'all something. Them three people that he's talking to, these dudes would like they had people coming to games and work scared. Like it wasn't no such thing as no chill. It was like, oh, listen, they're on you blowing somebody out. And they still at film room. Have you ever? This is how you know you got one of them coaches. When you be in the game, and even if you blowing somebody out or you winning the game, and you do something, you be like, "Oh, coach gonna kill me for this one." Coach, it'd be a mental mark. You be on the field, hey dog, hey, I totally missed that assignment, bro. Dude went this way. Coach about to get me. I'm telling you, mark that down. Listen, right now I watch. What's his name? Andy Dickerson. Is that his name?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. I do Ultimate Browns, and I be doing clips, and I have clips of training camp, and he's just encouraging the guys. That's a better job, but next time think about it doing like this. Ain't no think about doing it like this. Ain't no commune. This is a dictatorship. If you don't get it done, you about to be chilling next to me. We get that? And right now, you can even tell in the way that they walk in and run into the huddle. That level of urgency is just not there. You're trotting, and the thing that irks me the most is it takes me off to see two linemen sitting there looking at each other while there's four dudes on your quarterback or your running back in the backfield. You at least get yourself dirty. At least go to the whistle. We can't do that.
I got one more question on the quarterback before we move to our next topic, which still involves the offensive line. But we started saying, can quarterbacks thrive under this kind of pressure behind this line? You guys all said yes. Getting ready for Vegas on Sunday. What kind of changes do you think we'll see from this offense to try and allow Deshaun to have a little more success behind this makeshift unit up front? Dustin,
I mean, I guess I'll jump in here. I don't know. I mean, the Browns were down 3 offensive tackles, and you had to move Bitonio around. I mean, it's just there's so many issues, and even Bitonio talked about it this week. Like it's really, really difficult right now for this offensive line, and on top of that, like I don't think that Deshaun Watson is quite where he I don't think he isn't. I mean, he's not where he needs to be. He's playing better, but when you have a quarterback that's really trying to find himself and trying to, get back to something that he was, and things aren't perfect around him. So like he's being asked to do more when we're really just trying to get him back to where we think he needs to be, like on a level playing field where he's like, okay, this is a legitimate starting quarterback in the league. We're not there yet with him. Yeah. And then you add on top of that the offensive line issues. Like this is a disaster to some degree right now. And like concerned is an understatement because the Browns, I don't know where you go from here. You're not getting better personnel wise. This is the quarterback that you're going to ride or die with for the foreseeable future. And with the offensive line banged up, no Nick Chubb, no Njoku. I mean, Vegas is going to be a scalded dog this week. You saw what happened this past weekend against Carolina. Like Andy Dalton tore them up. They're going to be pissed off. It's a home game for them. You saw what these defensive linemen did for New York. They're 3 best players on defense. And by the way, they're like the only 3 guys that could probably even play on the Browns defense were the defensive linemen. Okay. And that's the strength of this Vegas defense as well, led by Max Crosby. So, okay, Dawand, good luck with Max Crosby this week. Or whoever's playing, I guess I should say.
Yeah. This is why, when we did the post-game show and I did some other shows, I said, you know, for once in the season, the quarterback is a concern, but you got other fires otherwhere that's a concern more than actually the quarterback, right? Like, because the bar was so low for Deshaun Watson, it was like I didn't even think he can make it through a season, like, you know, getting hit or whether or not he was going to be able to, like, at least I see certain things, like at least a couple of throws that I've seen that he threw to Amari Cooper on the sideline and the touchdowns and some of the things. I'm like, okay, that at least I can mess with. I can at least see that that's some progress. Right. But for the offensive line, it's not going to get no better. Wyatt Teller's going to be out minimum 4 or 5 weeks. James Hudson is not a pro level player. He's just not. Just to be honest with you, like people when they see the Browns line, they're like, listen, we're gonna really follow this guy wherever he's at, and we're gonna attack this guy right here. Dawand Jones right now is not in any shape. He's hobbled, he's hurt, and he still has to be in shape. He's not in shape. He's also not a guy that's going to be able to help you contribute to anything. And then you're looking at it like this. Maybe we get Jack Conklin back. But again, I keep telling you guys, linemen and bigger guys have to work their way back into shape. And no lineman is going to work their way back into shape against Max Crosby. We've been talking about these pass rushers the last 4 days.
Christian Wilkins is legit too.
They
got an interior guy.
So they getting pushed in the middle and pushed from the outside. So you say what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to scrap this whole, all that grandeur thoughts and grandiose thoughts of 5 wide and horseshoes and Lucky Charms. That's got to go. You better find you a couple of plays. What my coach used to say, we going to run boot, scoop, draw, and log. That's what we going to run. We running 42 gap. We're running 28 talk. We not running none of that stuff that we thought we was going to go. You got to go to a high school playbook. You're going to run the ball. You got to tell Jerome Ford, good luck. You're not going to see any of those green pastures outside. You're going to run the ball and try to get these 3 to 4 yards, and we going to run play action and run screens and do some high school stuff. Because other than that, you don't got the receivers to go downfield with it. Guys are sitting on everything underneath. They need to lean on their defense, but the scary part is, how you going to lean on the defense if Myles Garrett is playing at 50% McNuggets?
It's tough. Tyvis, last point, we'll move on.
My point is that G is not all the way wrong. I think that when you think about this season, they have to do the things that they practice. Like I said, when every report we got out of training camp was Deshaun's getting the ball in and out of his hands. It's all quick game. And that's what you're going to have to do because you don't have time. So if you're going to throw the ball, it has to be that. You think about the Browns' best drive this season was the opening drive against Jacksonville. 16-play drive. Old, nasty, grimy, dirty football. That's what it's going to be. The flashy stuff is, you don't have the Johns and Joes for that. You ain't throwing no bombs. Our best deep ball threat is Amari Cooper on a 20-yard fade. That is considered a deep ball.
That don't even classify as a fade.
20-yard fade. That's what it is. When he caught the fade on the sideline, that's our bomb right there because we don't have the guys to do it. So it is what it is. Like Deshaun, stop the scramble. It's not going to be Houston stuff. You're not about to scramble around, break some tackles, and just chuck it deep. That's not what it is. You don't got the guys that's doing that anyway. So run the quick game, run some screens, run draw, and run the ball. Like that's just the Cleveland Browns offense this year because that's just what it is. Move the pocket. You get you some rollouts and stuff like that. But that's it. You ain't this the days of double move and fade balls and deep 20-yard, 40-yard posts. It's not happening this year. Just not.
We have Mary Kay coming on at noon, and we love Mary Kay. But if I have to sit and read one more article next summer of this new look Browns offense and how they're going to change the world, I'm throwing out the Cleveland Plain Dealer and I'm using it as fire paper. That's all I'm saying. It always, no matter what, goes back to the same thing. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our next topic after a quick word from LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job. But might be open to the perfect role. In any given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong spot. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. You guys mentioned Wyatt Teller a few times. He is potentially out for up to a month with a grade 2 MCL sprain. Dawand, Jed Wills also battling with their own injuries. Jack Conklin yet to play this year. So I'm going to read you the names of a few free agent guards and tackles. And guys, you tell me if any of these guys are worth taking a flyer on if you're Andrew Berry and the Browns to help boost this offensive line. We'll start with the guards in the absence of Wyatt Teller. Zach Zinter will get the start, but some potential added depth. According to Spotrac, these are the 6 best available guards on the free agent market. Are you ready?
We are ready.
Mark Glowinski, last played for the New York Giants.
I'll take him.
Phil Haynes, last played for the Seattle Seahawks.
I'll take him.
I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Halaputalavedi Vaitai of Detroit. Unfamiliar, I'll be honest.
I think Garrett will take him.
And we're going to check with the judges. Is Veta of it? Yes, we'll take him.
Matt Feller, last played on the Buccaneers.
Tyvus?
I'll take him.
There you go.
Trey Turner, last played for the Saints.
I'll take him.
He sounds rough. His name is Trey. He has to be a Molar.
Mikey, you could, no joke, be making these names up, and I would say I'll take him.
Yeah.
What's funny, Dustin, you're new here. I have done games where I made up college basketball players and pretended they were real, and Bull had no idea. These are real names. I swear these are real names here, but we have done that exercise before. As far as tackles, we've talked about this list before. David Bakhtiari, DJ Humphries, Charles Leno, Dwayne Brown, Donovan Smith, who started on the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl, and Cameron Fleming, all available offensive linemen. Gee, if you're Andrew Berry, are you working the phones today trying to bring 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in? And if they don't bring in anybody, if the answer is 0, they're going with their guys. Is that excusable to you, or is that just complete?
No, that's malpractice. And that's malpractice, and that's being egocentric. Like it's time out for, we know that, people and general manager would like to play their guys that they drafted. It hasn't worked. James Hudson has not worked. You can't keep trotting them out there. And you need reinforcements, man. The guys that they're looking for, and I'm gonna give them some sort of a little bit of grace here. Like, all these guys had surgery, you know what I'm saying? And some people come back in surgery at their own time. But I want people to understand, offensive line play now is not like it was back then. It wasn't like you get an offensive lineman and you just say all the offensive linemen are average, but you got your guys like Munoz or your guys, that are Hall of Famers. And the rest of them are just average and serviceable, so it don't matter who you put up there. Now, when you got these pass rushers that are you just look at the pass rushers since we've gotten back. You had Josh Allen, you had Micah Parsons, you got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence. Now you're going to get Max Crosby in this upcoming game. These guys are prime time elite athletes. So this is in a throwaway position. These guys can literally wreck your whole game plan, and you won't be able to move the football. So they got to figure out something very quickly. And they're going to have to figure out something as well at tight end. One thing that I think is hurting them a little bit too, McNuggets, is David Njoku was a very good blocker. Some of the things that they were doing was check releasing with David Njoku.
I don't know about very good. Sorry, I didn't mean to kill you there, but he's an okay blocker. Sorry about that.
He's a good blocker. Like he's
serviceable.
He's a good blocker for a tight end. And what they were doing is using him as somebody that could help some of the tackles. Now, at this point, you don't have that release valve. You don't have your running game. So you're going to have to figure out whether it's 9 linemen or extra linemen in the game. You have to figure something out. But they should be bringing all these guys in trials right now. They should be giving physicals out like Oprah give cars out. You get a physical, you get a physical, you get a trade. They should be out there working these dudes out today.
Dustin, do you agree?
Yeah, I would be working anybody out. I mean, I think you could run an ad in the paper to steal a line from one of my old coaches. Like, you got to find some way. It may be difficult to get guys in here like midweek and expect them to go out there and be able to contribute and really help you on Sunday, like this Sunday. But man, you've got to. They're so banged up, guys. I mean, even like Dawand Jones, who struggled in that game, like he's hurt. Like he's battling that knee. So I don't have a lot of issues, or I don't have a lot of answers to these issues. The Browns guys, I mean, this is the worst offense in football right now. Do you know that?
They have the worst EPA per play in the NFL heading into last night, and there's no way that Washington or Cincinnati or Buffalo and Jacksonville was already ahead of them. So, yeah, it's probably still 32nd.
The Browns are averaging 3.8 yards per play. That's the second worst mark in the NFL and the franchise's third worst through the first 3 games of a season since 99.
It's been some bad football since 99 too.
Hey, McNuggets.
How about this? The team's third down conversion rate, 18%. You know how bad that is? It's the franchise's worst since 1999.
It's like
how you gonna win?
Ty,
how you gonna win games?
You know what it is, though? This is the problem. It's because the for some odd reason, I don't know whose call this was, but they came in and they tried to change the identity of what the Cleveland Browns are. And I understand that you got to do different things to get more success. But when you think about the Browns, you always thought about a team that played good defense and that ran the football first. And once they tried to go into this big pass and attack thing, it's not successful because that's not what they're used to. Nobody's used to really doing that all the time. They're used to running the ball, running play action, which is for alignment. It's pretty similar blocking in that scheme of things. Now you're asking these guys to just be straight pass pro guys. And yeah, they had some success with Joe Flacco, but at the end of the day, you gotta run the ball, man. Like, it's just what it is.
I gotta give you an analogy, and y'all should be able to vibe with it. When you get older, you're in college and you start, there's different certain cultures and different cults that I call you get into, right? And there's a major difference between going to a nightclub and going to a bar.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to a nightclub, you get a lot of stuff off. It's a little more aggressive. It's a little more, it's a little more competition in there. It's a little more showy. You can't use that same game you going to talking to these young ladies in a bar, in a setting where it's a club as a bar. When you go to a bar, it's completely different. You better be up early. You got to do some day drinking. You got to be up hanging out, getting beers. You can't be coming in Predator gear. You can't have sunglasses on. The whole gear is different. And you got to have a group of dudes with you. You can't be a solo fish in a bar trying to hunt. You're out of here. It's 2 different levels to it. And it's the same way when you're trying to throw the ball and you're trying to run the ball. If you're trying to throw the ball, you got to have guys that actually pass block, receivers that can actually get downfield. And your coach has to know how to dial up those type of plays to get guys open on free yard. We call them free yards. I was watching the all 22, and I was just alarmed at the rudimentary routes. There was no route combinations. If Dustin and Tyvis was out there, they're jumping that. Why would Dustin and Tyvis play back at off coverage when you got Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper? Why? I'm sitting on everything, and they're running 4-yard button hooks. Guys are running. They're still running stick routes. I didn't see so many stick routes I'm like, why are you running that? Like, there's nobody open. I've always said, if you want to pass the ball, McNuggets, why not just cut, copy, and paste? Just watch the Chiefs 1 week and say, give me week 12 of the Chiefs from 2022, and just take one of their best plays and say, let's run it. Because them trying to create it is not there. All the routes are under 10 yards. I don't know why. I'm just counting them. I don't know.
I was looking at that completion thing. You know, that chart,
the pass chart.
It's all of it. Like, it's all quick game routes, right?
Oh,
They tried to throw the ball deeper against the Giants than they had in the first two games. They didn't have a ton of success with it. Deshaun was 2 of 10 on passes over 10 yards, but they at least tried.
This is gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season.
Justin, you were at the Buffalo game last night. I thought the way Buffalo got some guys open in the quick passing game was really creative. And
how about the opening drive and really the first half for Buffalo? Like
masterclass.
They did such a good job getting the ball like on the perimeter, out leveraging the defense, like taking advantage of what the defense was doing. They were, over pursuing the run. And of course, Buffalo was able to make those plays on the outside. Like James Cook had a couple of those swing passes that just end up like big plays, Yeah. So I don't know. They scheme well. Buffalo looks like the best team in football right now. So that's probably not a fair comparison to compare or talk about them.
I just mean if you look at their weapons compared to the Browns' weapons, it looks like they're.
I mean they don't have the best weapons. Are you kidding me?
The Browns have better weapons on paper. You would take the Browns receiving core, but when you see the way Buffalo schemes guys open, creates space for their playmakers, as opposed to what we've watched in Cleveland for the first 3 weeks of the season, it looks like two different sports. It looks like the Browns are playing blackjack, and if you go over 21, you lose. And they're just like, nope, all right, we're good. We're good at 15. We're good at 17. We're good at 18. We can't even attempt to get into that 20-point plateau. All other teams are out here scoring 47 points with relative ease. That's the same Jaguars defense that held the Browns to 1 touchdown last week or 2 weeks ago now. Think about that.
I thought about that the whole game last night. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, how did this team, like the Browns beat them, obviously, but man, I don't know. And then I watched, the Cowboys game against the Ravens, and I know they came back and made it close, but it's like, dude, they look like a different team than played us.
And Dustin, even this is what to tie with what you were saying. It's like the Ravens was 0-2. And you know what they said? You know what? Screw it. We're going to run the ball 40 plus times. We're going to throw it 15. And they got Lamar Jackson. They got some guy like Zay Flowers is a nice young player. He can do some things out. But they said, you know what? We got Derrick Henry. And we're just going to run the ball 40 times because the Cowboys can't stop anything up the middle. They can't stop any plays. And they came down there and established what they do. The Steelers, look, they don't matter who they got at quarterback. They're going to play defense. They're going to run what the Steelers run. And the Cleveland Browns right now are a man without a country. They can't pass block it up good enough or got the receivers to throw it downfield, but they've moved so far left in the philosophy of running the football that they can't even do that now. So now you end up with this medium playbook where it's like sit down routes with Jordan Akins and slants that corners is looking at you like, stop it. I know you're running this. I seen them turn around and look at somebody and bracket coverage like, yeah, go ahead, throw that. Yeah, we all over that, dog. I want to sell t-shirts, people. I want to drink the Kool-Aid. I do. You think I don't? But I can't sit up here and tell you I don't see where this gets better. I don't. I just don't see how. Maybe they can show me against Vegas. But I'm telling you guys.
I'm going to be honest with you. They need to scrap it, bro. Like, it's just scrap it. It's not go back to the run and the play action. Like you was at least middle of the road offense every year when y'all did that. Like y'all trying too hard and it's not working. Like go back to what worked. It won you games. You was able to score. It's fine. I know he don't want to do that, but at the end of the day, it's gonna help him live because he gonna stand back there and he gonna get killed every time trying to do these dropbacks. So just run the ball and run play action and work off the boots. I tell you what, if I didn't got sacked, how many times he got sacked this year? Like 15, maybe?
I'm not positive.
I actually have the numbers right here. You ready for this, Tavis?
Yeah.
Browns have been sacked 16 times this season on 12% of their dropbacks, and they've been pressured on 44.7% of dropbacks.
And that's just sacks. So we ain't even talk about him getting hit. If I didn't got hit, it's week 3 now. If I didn't got sacked 16 times and I didn't got hit more than that, yeah, I think come on, let's run this play action real quick. Let me see. Let me see if I can at least, make it to the end of the season. Because right now, you tread lightly, brother.
Well, the Browns are going to need a hell of a defensive performance if this offense isn't going to step up. And that's going to be our next topic after a quick word from FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you can place your bets. You get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Against the Giants, Jim Schwartz did not start Denzel Ward shadowing Malik Neighbors. For his career, he's kind of been against that. He plays corners on each side. But after Neighbors went off in the first half, he made the switch and had Denzel shadow Neighbors in the second half, and they did a much better job slowing down the Giants rookie. We got 2 former NFL defensive backs on the show, so it was the perfect time to ask this question. Against the Raiders, should Denzel shadow Davante Adams wherever he goes, or should they continue to play the normal style of Schwartz's defense? MJ on one side and Denzel on the other. Tyvis, start us off.
Now listen here. Listen here. I understand that you got confidence in all your DBs. You know, you got 3 guys that you consider top of the league and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Davante is one of one. I know he's getting older. I know his production may not have been the same, but Davante is still Tay Adams. All right. That dude's still nasty. And after Malik Neighbors just pulled what he pulled, you got to nip it in the bud, and just Denzel has to be the guy. Like, Denzel is the guy that it's a reason that you paid him all of this money. It's to go up against #1 corners. And don't get me wrong, I understand that MJ Emerson is trying to plead his case for when he gets paid, he wants to get paid big time money. I want to be able to showcase that I can also go up against these big time wide receivers and shut them down. I get that. Cool. We still trying to win football games right now, okay? It's going to come a time where, you know, when y'all in zone, maybe do your thing in zone because y'all will play sides in zone or whatever the case may be. But to win this football game, especially now that pass rush is going to take a hit because Miles is only 50%, so now you got guys covering longer. We already talked about what we thought MJ Emerson's one of his weaknesses was. I thought that recovery speed-wise, he's not the fastest guy. You know, that's just what it is. He's a great player, though. He got great anticipation. If he gets his hands on you, he can hang with you. But long speed, that's just not what his thing is. And going up against a guy like Davante Adams, who can lull you to sleep with some of the routes that he runs, he'll come off and act like he ain't doing nothing and then sprint out of it. Like that stuff, it's going to be a big difference. The only guy that can hang with Tay Adams step for step right now is Denzel. So with the lack of pass rush, Denzel is shadowing Davante Adams.
Dustin?
I always like to shadow my top corner with the top wide receiver of the team you're playing, depending on like how good that guy is. And I think Davante Adams is one of the best receivers in football, and I think that Denzel Ward is one of the best corners in football. I'd prefer that he sort of follows him around. The only problem with that is, I mean, when you do that, and we did that a lot at Ohio State. I would play the boundary corner for the most part, but like if we were playing a game, like for example, like when we played Michigan, my junior and senior year, for the most part, Chris Gamble followed Braylon Edwards. You know, we played Wisconsin, like Chris would follow Lee Evans, and I was cool with that because I was like, shit, excuse my language. I was like, crap, I don't have to, follow the best receiver. It took a lot off. It took a lot off of my plate. Is my point. So like, I'm sure that Emerson is a younger guy trying. I mean, he's a good player, but like, I'd rather, if I'm Schwartz and I'm the other guys in the second, I would much rather have Denzel sort of shadow Davante Edwards. I think that'd be a great game plan. I don't know that they do it. And also, I don't know that the circumstances would dictate that it is, something you can do. A lot of times, I talk to these coaches during the week, and I know it's college, but I'm like, hey, your top corner, you're going to shadow this guy. This guy's the best receiver in the Big Ten or whatever it may be. And, some teams are like, yeah, I mean, they run too much tempo. We don't feel like, maybe we don't want to wear out my corner by having him chase all the way across the field each time, right, to match up with this guy. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but yeah, that's going to be a matchup to watch for sure.
G?
Yeah, listen, so this is Davante Adams we're talking about here. One of the best route runners of our generation. He is a mastermind. Martin Emerson cannot be on him. That's not what is going to happen. And I'm just going to give you Martin Emerson's scouting report, Tyvus. Now, listen, he's almost a full 6'2", but he's a 4.53 guy.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear, 4.53. This is his scout report coming out of college. And usually your scout report in college don't change much to when you get in the league. That's what they said. Lumbering runner at times with a lack of twitch. Often jumps into breaks, leading to his average burst and breaking ability. Struggles with short area quickness. Has difficulty with shiftier players who can create separation from him. Malik Neighbors, we saw that. Change of direction inside 5 yards in the phone booth. He was way back over here. Which way did he go, George? Can be a bit of a waist leaner who oftentimes tugs and grabs receivers out of breaks. Top end speed is a question. A one-speed runner who looks to lumber at times isn't quite comfortable running with faster athletes downfield. If you watch MJ Emerson, he's great in zone, but when he gets in a position where he has to trust his speed in blind situations when that ball is in the air, he does not deal with it well. He's a solid corner. He's a good corner. But note to Mr. Schwartz, there's levels to this. MJ Emerson and Greg Newsome are not on that level. No disrespect to Northwestern corners. Hey man, Newsome had maybe the worst game of his career last week. I mean, it was pretty bad. So I'm just saying. And Dustin, and here's the thing with it. I've never seen this. They ran the same exact play like it was Madden. You know when you run a play and the receiver be like, you know what?
They ran it again.
They ran the slot fade on you. That is disrespectful. That's disrespectful, Greg. I'm telling you, bro. We got good corners, but they didn't drink the Kool-Aid on that all our corners are the same tier level. They are not. That has been proven, and we got to switch something up.
Well, the thing about it is, even he shouldn't even be disrespected by that anyways, because it's not like, okay, so you're not lining up on Tay Adams. They still got Jacoby Myers over there, so like you still gonna get that work. So I don't understand where the disrespect comes from. Like, yeah, it's Davante after what just happened last week with a rookie. Yeah, like this is literally one of the best in the league. So we've already paid Denzel. Denzel has to show us why we paid him this money. So yes, from a owner standpoint, I want a return on my investment. Go shut that man down. That's what that's about right there.
We didn't ask this question yesterday. Bad job out of us, but this is actually the right panel, I guess, to ask this question to. After the interception by Hickman that then got called back, the Browns went into the end zone, and there was more than 11 people involved in the celebration. There was 15 people involved in this drumline celebration that was choreographed to a T, led by JOK. That means people came off the sideline into the end zone to do a drumline celebration that obviously looked great for social media, but the play didn't count. Tyvus, Dustin, G, you guys all played defense at the highest of levels. Dustin, Tyvus, y'all made it to the NFL. First off, it's a two-part question. It's going to be a bad job, and Dustin, you go first, and we'll go around the horn.
No. I'm gonna let my brothers who have the swag jump in on this one first. Culturally,
I'm gonna punt on this one, guys.
I'm gonna punt
with you. A, what is that a training camp thing they practice? And B, how do you not notice there's a flag on the field? And Newsome, by the way, he hit him in the helmet. They call that 100 out of 100 times. We can argue whether or not it should be the right call. It shouldn't be the call. It is how the NFL calls that penalty. It's a penalty every single time. He knew he did it. How do you go do that? And then after that, by the way, they gave a 13-play, 81-yard touchdown drive, and that dance is going to go down in infamy as an all-time dumb moment by this Browns defense.
Okay, so to answer your first question, is that something you work on in training camp? Not necessarily. It's something that, somebody thinks of at one point in time, and they say, if we do something, we're going to do this. And it's not just like one person. It's not like Ronnie Hickman said, if I get a pick, like we going to do this. No, it's like defense, if we get a pick or a pick six, this is what we're going to do. We should try this celebration. That's how typically it comes up.
Even if it's as choreographed as that. Because That was fully choreographed that looked like my sister's dance recital in third grade.
You just talk about it. So that's one you just talk about it. We're gonna do the drumline thing. Okay. Like it's something you say not on game day, but it's like in the practice that
during
like,
during period 25 when it's like
special teams period with nobody in.
we doing field goal and we on the sideline. We over there like yeah. So what we gonna do is
okay.
Yeah, that's typically how it works. Now, to answer your second question, I absolutely don't know how nobody didn't see this flag. Like that should have been something that would be like, hey, chill, y'all, it's a flag right now. But I guess they were so caught up in the moment that they thought maybe it would be on the Giants for something. So they probably was like, oh, it's not on us anyways. So let me ask you this. If that would have happened with y'all's previous coaches, right? What do you think they would have said in the film room? Would there be repercussions for that?
Bro, do you understand what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
Dustin, you go first.
I was just going to say, like, do you guys realize, like, back when I played, this is not me being like, get off my lawn, but some of the coaches that I had, like, I'll just go to college for 1 second. Like, Mark D'Antonio would have kicked our butts. I mean, we couldn't go on the practice field without showing white above our ankle braces. I mean, like, can you imagine what they would have done to us if we were dancing and having a celebration as there's a penalty flag on the field? And then on top of that, the celebrations, it's so much about me. And I get it, man. I don't play anymore and I'm old. But like, to me, dude, I watch these things. It's like these guys sprint their butts down like 80 yards to all get together for a picture. It's like what are we doing? Is this media day?
Like
that's such an old answer. What?
Why? I mean,
get a pick,
conserve the energy.
That's the motto. Get a pick, take a flick.
Now here's the part. Man. Because for me,
I'm old,
and I'm a new. Look, says the dude.
That's the acting like he 100% wouldn't have ran down there and got in on the picture. That's what makes me laugh.
Oh, dude, I mean, I just said it. I don't play anymore. Like, I'm sure, you know, if I were in the league now, that I would follow along and be like, yeah, I guess this is what we do. You know, we got to get some content for TikTok, man.
Like Tyvis, but the point that I get, and the point I'm trying to bring up is the Cleveland Browns 2 weeks in a row, there were plays that could have been made. Last week against the Jaguars, they get a fumble on kickoff inside the 20. The Browns could be going up 17-0. That game's over. Mm-hmm. The Browns get a turnover against a bad team or a team that had not been playing good. You got a turnover on kickoff. You threw a first play touchdown fade in the end zone. Now you get a pick, and now you're inside their territory. That could change the complete complexion of the game. And a lot of times these guys don't understand that those dumb mistakes, and I know Browns fans be like, oh, it's ticky-tack. That wasn't this. That's the problem. We've been where we got since 1999 because we always trying to figure out how we going to skate. No, total line, and good teams don't do that. Like, you know, they teach you now. You don't run up all close with your face next to the quarterback's face. You break down, you jump 5 yards away from him. You try to obstruct his vision, but you don't run up to the quarterback and do nothing.
Well, gee, hold on. First of all, let me defend him a little bit here. You taught. Actually, you're supposed to keep running and you match the quarterback's throwing hand. That's what you taught. So you don't want to stop, because if you stop and he pump fake you, now he can get around you. But if you keep running straight through and match the hand, even if he tries to pull it down, you still run into the sack. Now, the play on that one, I mean, he just didn't get his hand back down fast enough. He tried to match it, and he went through and hit him in the head with his hand, and that's going to be a penalty every time. So that part he's got to work on, but everything he did was absolutely correct. He just got to get his hand out of there.
I hate the technique. That's
what you're talking about. Am I wrong? When you come off a blitz and you get into the quarterback and he's about to throw, ain't you taught to match the throwing hand?
I'm not
100%.
Hey, listen, I hate the technique. I hate it. Listen,
I'm telling you what it is.
There's only one way you can have something bad happen, right? You're a cornerback. It's not like you're running through the man anyway. I need you to break down, put your hands up. If you don't get it, we live to fight another day. You can't touch his face, his head, none of that. Like these are, or just
He's not
little
trying
stuff.
to touch his face.
Hey, I'm not trying to lean. Not trying to lay on the quarterback as a defensive lineman either. But I know that you can't just lay in on him and put your weight on him. That's impossible. But I know you better find another way, dog, because you're negating like the kicker. It's just not that isolated situation. It's the kicker. Why are you walking across the 50-yard line? Do you not know the rule? We've had multiple times where we've had chances to put teams away with either catches that we should have had. Let's talk about the fact that, I mean, guys, we can't even take the snap. We can't take we're moving the ball. We're on the 44-yard line, Tyvis, and we can't take a regular handoff.
Yeah, I mean, that's first of all, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I know I do a lot of Deshaun Watson defending. I wouldn't call it defending. I just like to call it what it is. But that he talked about that in post game, and I hated his answer. I really did.
Talked about what? Just so
the fumble. He talked about the fumble. Like he said a lot of stuff. Essentially, it came off as him saying it wasn't on me, and I just hate that he went that route. Like I really wish he would have just stood up there and said, you know what? I just got to do a better job of getting it. Even if you 100% did, like if you did put it in there and he just dropped it, just take the bullet for your guy, bro. Be like, listen, it's on me. It starts with me. I'm the quarterback. It's my job to put the ball in there. It was a miss. He bobbled a little bit. I got to be better making sure that he secures it. Like, just say that. And people will be like, oh, look at that. He's been. But like when you say I forget what he said, but it basically came off like, yeah, it wasn't on me, technically. It wasn't my fault.
Well, gee, we got Mary Kay in the wings here, so let me do an ad read. I'm going to dump out and allow Mary Kay to take my spot in here. But if you guys are looking to hire for a small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role, that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. The LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So you can hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And I'm going to drop out so Mary Kay can join us.
He did that really well.
Mary Kay.
He didn't even finish his thought.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How you doing today, Mary Kay?
Doing well. Good to have you.
Great to be here.
So we'll start it off this way, Mary Kay. Offensive line. We went over a few guys that list of guys that they can think of about bringing in for basically a tryout. Where are we with the offensive line? After we left the game, we had multiple guys getting MRIs. Can you give us an update on some of the guys? Dawand Jones, Wyatt Teller, Jed Wills. We saw it in the game, and then he left again. Where are we at with the injuries, and what do you think the Browns' the next plan of action is to kind of figure out, who to swoosh in, move around?
Well, the last thing they needed when Deshaun Watson has been sacked a league high 16 times already is to lose their all-pro right guard in Wyatt Teller. So that's not going to help matters, but they've got to get this figured out. I don't know if they can move Joel over to left tackle for a while, like he did the other day when he subbed in there. But the edges are very challenged right now. Dawand, he's hurting with his knee injury, still recovering from that. He doesn't look like himself. I know you guys saw that. And then Jed, his first game back, that was a little bit rough there. So they're struggling up front, and they need to get this worked out as best they possibly can. If Jack Conklin can come back this week, and I know he's getting close, that will help matters a lot. So if you can get some Jack in there, maybe Jed can play a little bit. We don't know yet. We'll get out there on Wednesday and see who's practicing and who's not. But they have to figure out how to keep their quarterback upright, and he's got to have the time to throw. And then he's got to do his part. It's a bit of everything. The scheme, they have to do their part, the coaches, the quarterback. And then also, let's not let the defense off the hook. You can't get into a 21-7 hole and expect that teams are not going to pin their ears back and come after your quarterback. So it's just a collective effort that they have to get to.
Mary Kay, is there anything that Kevin Stefanski can do schematically that can change things to help them right now? I mean, before you jumped on, I read some stats out that ESPN provided about how bad the Browns offense is. I mean, this is literally like the worst offense through 3 games since the Browns have been back in '99. Yards per play and third down conversions, the worst. Like, we got the 2-time coach of the year. What are we doing here?
Well, first of all, it's a brand new offense and it hasn't gotten off the ground yet. And I would like to say this, because I keep hearing everyone saying they don't have an identity. They don't know what they want to be. They don't know who they are. And I am just not really buying that. I don't subscribe to the we have to have an identity theory, because your identity should be to be explosive, tough, fast, and those kinds of things. But from a schematic standpoint, you don't have to be jumbo or a run-oriented team or a play-action team. You can be a spread offense one week and a jumbo running team the week after. So I don't like this whole, they don't know what they want to be and they're not being, what they truly are. They're not accepting what they are. I'm just not buying that. They don't have Deshaun Watson and all of these receivers and David Njoku to just be a jumbo running football team. That's not who they're going to be. I think you can do all different kinds of things and show different looks to a defense every week, depending on the opponent. I just don't think they've gotten it together yet at all, right? Amari Cooper finally just got it together last week. So hopefully for them, that will continue on. David Njoku hasn't been in there. I think that's hurt them. Their tackles have not been good at all. That's hurt them a lot. Now they're without their guard. So I just don't think that they've gotten off the ground yet. But the good news for the Cleveland Browns is the fact that the Ravens are 1-2 and the Bengals are 0-3. So nobody's really lighting it up yet. And they're all kind of inching along, finding their way, figuring it out. And it's going to be one heck of an AFC North hard knocks in those final 6 games.
Mary Kay, let me ask you about Myles Garrett. What's the latest with him? And is his injury one of those things that you think we might see him miss a couple of games just to rest? Or do you think he's going to continue to play no matter what, how bad he's feeling?
I think he'll play unless they absolutely drag him off the field and say, you can't play until you let this rest and settle down for a little while, or you have to come out here and have some surgery or something. Short of that, he's going to play. He's one of those gladiator warrior guys that is just going to be out there for his football team. And Browns fans can appreciate that. There are a lot of guys on the team that are like that. In fact, Dawand Jones has been like that this season, even though he's not feeling good at all. He's out there, he's fighting, he's gutting through it, he's grinding, and you need guys like that, obviously. So I think Myles will continue to play. I think he's going to be in pain. I think he's going to need a lot of treatment during the week, and then he's going to have to do the best he can in games. Because the one thing that I felt was going to be really important this year is for Myles Garrett to be very strong in those final 6 games of the season, that gauntlet that they have when they're on national television all the time and they're playing the AFC North and they're in the playoffs. That's when you need Myles to be at his best this year. So they're going to have to manage it. They're going to have to monitor it and hope he can make it strong to the finish line.
Mary Kay, I'm gonna revisit something. You said you don't really necessarily believe in having an identity in terms of you have to run the ball or you have to throw the ball. I think more in terms of what people are saying without identity is saying that the Browns don't do anything well offensively. They're not very explosive in deep passes. They're not very proficient on third down. They're not very proficient in running the football. So when you watch the Cleveland Browns, you're looking for any sign to say, okay, we can work with this. Like, hey, we're throwing the ball really well short. Our short game is there. Or, hey, we're really doing a good job on outside zone. Or hey, we've been really doing a really good job of getting our receivers matched up on crossing routes. For a lot of people, we're just watching it and we don't see what they are, what they can really say, hey, we're good at this at this point. Are we mistaken when we watch and there just doesn't seem to be any explosive nature to this offense that could put points on the board at a level to win football games?
Well, first of all, it's a brand new offense. Okay. That's number one. It's a brand new offense. It's a work in progress. It's not off the ground yet. It's not functioning the way they want it to yet. Hopefully for them, they will get it together, and all these things that they know they can do well will start happening more in November and December when you need them to be. And then as far as explosiveness is concerned, I mean, you guys saw Amari Cooper drop touchdown passes in each of the first 2 games, and that is very, very significant. That changes the outcome of a football game in some instances. You saw Cedric Tillman drop a very clutch key 4th down pass in this past game. And you know what? If he catches that pass, maybe they go out there and win an ugly game that they probably should have lost by rights with the way everything went up to that point. But if you win the game in the end, you deserve to win the game. But you have to make those plays. You can't be fumbling the ball in the end. You can't be missing an open receiver. You have to be able to play in the clutch. And this new offense, it's just not playing fast yet because it's all new. It's new terminology. In some cases, it's new personnel. It was a struggling wide receiver 1. It's a quarterback coming off of an injury. It's tackles that are suffering with their knee injuries. It's not there yet. But I don't think that means it's not going to be there in November if they can get their protection issues figured out. In the meantime, they can't get their quarterback so hurt that he's not going to be out there for them.
You know, Mary Kay, I want to talk to you about the defensive side of the ball, because I think coming into this season, you knew that the offense was going to be challenging, trying to figure out, how they're going to get going. It was going to take a while for them to get that chemistry, but I thought they was going to lean heavily on that defense. And, last week, obviously, Malik Neighbors ended up having a really good game, and this defense just doesn't look as dominant as it once was. Do you think offensive coordinators and teams have figured out how to be successful against Jim Schwartz?
Well, for starters, I always wondered if the number 1 defense was going to take a little bit of a step back based on the fact that they got a lot of breaks last year in terms of the quarterbacks that they faced, right? They weren't going out there and facing Kyler Murray. They didn't face Aaron Rodgers. They had Trevor Siemian instead of him. They had Trevor Lawrence 6 days out from an ankle injury. They had, it was one thing after another. They had Brock Purdy, who basically was without Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel in that game, in the second half of that football game. And they could have lost it anyways if Jake Moody would have made that game-winning kick, 41 yards. And then as you move through the season, you see, in the season finale, or at least on the Christmas Eve game in Houston, they got Case Keenum instead of CJ Stroud. It was one thing after another like that. And they got, again, Clayton Tune, a 5th-round rookie, instead of Kyler Murray. They just weren't battle tested the way that they were going to be when the schedule first came out. By the time they got to the playoffs, they didn't know what hit them. And CJ Stroud was back, good offense back, and they kind of turned back into maybe what they would have been, which was a good defense, but maybe not the number 1 defense had they faced the lineup of quarterbacks that they were supposed to.
Mary Kay, just looking ahead at this weekend's game against Las Vegas, it's going to be interesting. I'm sure Browns fans are loving it that they get to go out to Vegas for this game, the ones that are going to go. But, they lose this past weekend to Carolina. I watched a lot of that game. Like Dalton shredded them last week. I'm sure that they're going to come into this game. Antonio Pierce, we know what he's like as a former player and how much he gets that group going. I'm guessing that they're going to be super fired up about this opportunity this weekend, looking at the Browns like it's a kind of a get-right game for them, being at home. This game worries me a lot. I'm very concerned about going on the road after what just happened to Cleveland this past weekend against a Giants team. Everybody thought, including myself, that they should have won. I mean, the Giants are not a great football team, but the Browns ended up losing that game. I'm talking way too long here. Let me ask you this to get to the point. How tough is this matchup? God, that was long.
It's a game of matchups, and we all know that. It's a game of matchups, and if you can capitalize on some mismatches, then you have a good chance of winning the game. And that's the thing that I think the Browns have to look at in this game is Max Crosby, one of the premier edge rushers in the NFL, Christian Wilkins, amazing defensive tackle, and what they're going to do up front. If they take a page out of the Giants playbook, which, by the way, was an amazing game plan on both sides of the ball. I'll tell you what, Brian Daboll was passed over for the Browns head coaching job, former Browns offensive coordinator. I'm sure he wanted to utilize his playbook to the fullest and really have some great things in store for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. They played a heck of a football game. But if the Raiders follow the Giants blueprint, they will blitz a ton. They will take advantage of the fact that they have some challenging issues along the offensive line, especially on the edges right now. They'll move Max Crosby around. They'll do some of the things that Micah Parsons did. And that's going to be the key for the Browns, is to figure out how to make sure that they can move the ball and protect Deshaun Watson with what these guys are going to do up front. That, I think, is going to be the key to the game.
Mary Kay, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. And hopefully we can get a win and get back to 2-2 in this season. We appreciate you.
Sure. Thanks a lot, guys.
Mary
Thanks, Mary
Kay.
Kay.
That was the great Mary Kay. I'm back. We got Aditi in 15 minutes, guys. For the next 15 minutes, let's talk about the AFC North as a whole. I don't think any of us foresaw the Steelers being 3-0, the Bengals being 0-3, and the Ravens and Browns both being 1-2 at the 3-week mark of the season. We talked about the AFC North being the potential best division ever, where all 4 teams could legitimately win a Super Bowl. And so far, that has not been the case this year. G, what has surprised you most about the AFC North through the first 3 weeks of the season?
Nothing. Man, look, nothing at all. Like, these games are hard, man. These games are very difficult to win. It's 1 or 2 plays that separate these games. And, we knew what it was going to be like. It's going to be a dogfight, the rest of the season. And so that's why, when we talking about, the situation, and we asking Mary Kay, hey, look, we don't have no time for half stepping, man. We need to stack these wins while we can stack them, because we don't know who's going to come out of games. We don't know who's going to be available. We don't know how injuries is going to fall. And right now, we can't wait on that offense when you do got the Bengals down 0-3. And you do got 1-2 Baltimore. We want to put some games in to get us to a point where we say, oh, we can stack some wins here, because we know what the schedule look like. So for me, I knew one of the teams in this division was going to get off to a slow start by default, based on who they play and being in the AFC. And now look at it like this: we looking at the Commanders, right?
Man, Jaden Daniels looked good, didn't he, last night?
Come on now. Come on. He was putting that ball on a rope yesterday, on the road. That ain't no regular rookie. Look, we already ran into one rookie in Malik Neighbors. Listen, these games is not no gimmies. You see, hey, and like you said, Dustin, Vegas, Antonio Pierce put them on notice. He said some people made business decisions today. we gonna do the same. Like, so these guys gonna be ready to play at home. So the next 2 games ain't gonna be easy. We can't be sitting here with we'll figure it out. No, that ain't no. We can't be figuring it out. That's not what it is, McNuggets. No.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, I am shocked that Cincinnati is 0-3, and the Ravens, that at a point, wasn't they giving up the most points in the NFL? At like first 2 weeks, they gave up like the most points or something like that. I think I heard that stat somewhere. But anyways, I guess I didn't think about the fact that because they lost their defensive coordinator, he's the head coach at the Seahawks now, right? I never put into consideration that the defense would take a step back over there, because for so long they've always been good defensively, and I think that's the reason why they're 1-2, is because their defense hasn't been playing as good as they're supposed to be. So that those 2 teams are shocking to me. The Steelers thing to me is something that, if you know who Mike Tomlin is, like, it's not that shocking, because he always gets the best out of his guys. And And it's just something about that defense. They know it because they know who they are. That's what it is. They, out of everybody, they know exactly who they are. They know that defense has to hold them teams to a certain amount of points because they know what the offense looks like. It ain't been good since Ben left the building. So they know defensively coming in, the mindset is if they score more than 14, like it's going to be hard to win these games, or we better score on defense, or we better do everything we can. And they've stuck to their motto. Like, that's just what it is. So it's not shocking. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable for them to, like, I ain't saying they're going to win 13 games this year or something like that. They could, but it's not shocking that they 3-0.
Well, I mean, the one surprise to me, I should say this. It's a surprise to everyone else. It's not a surprise to me. It's Pittsburgh, like they are always right there no matter what. And when you count them out, that's exactly when they start to thrive. I'm not like all out on Cincinnati because I do think their offense is good and they'll have a chance. That was a really weird game last night. And I think Jaden Daniels might be the franchise quarterback that Washington thinks that they drafted. Baltimore, they're just a damn good football team. They've had some rough goes. Their loss to Vegas, I think, by the way, the Vegas win against Baltimore sort of put them in a tough spot against Carolina, which makes me even more worried about this weekend's game for Cleveland, because that was a letdown game, I think, for the Raiders on Sunday against Carolina. But so your three teams, the Browns, Browns are disappointing right now. It is what it is, boys. It's gonna be a tough year. Nothing's over. Nothing's been decided through 3 games, but I think we have a good feel for where the Browns could go or are going. And I do think Pittsburgh at some point will take a step back. But Baltimore, to me, looks like the most complete team, with Lamar Jackson just being able to kind of do whatever he wants. What's new?
And really quick, McNuggets, the thing that makes you feel good about a 0-3 and 1-2 team in the division in the Cincinnati Bengals and the Ravens is because you know what the quarterback is about. You already know, what Lamar Jackson brings to the table. That record could look all you want it to look like. Like, it could be 2 and something. But guess what? When Lamar Jackson steps on the football field, all that go out the window because you know what he's going to do. Joe Burrow he got the ball in the fourth quarter. You know what Joe Burrow is capable of. So that's what it makes you feel like they're never quite out of it, because they know what they got at quarterback. For the Browns, it's different. We don't know. Like, we still working on some progress to getting the quarterback playing a certain level of football. So when stuff other than around him start going wrong, of course we gonna panic. What else we gonna do? Like, we ain't got no life raft, and I don't know how to swim.
If we're talking just the AFC North, the Steelers being 3-0, despite scoring a grand total of 41 points in 3 wins is pretty shocking. Like, they have not played well offensively. Their defense has been incredible. They've allowed, in those 3 games, 26 points total. They have the elite defense that a lot of us thought the Browns could have this season, and they're winning games without an offense because their defense has been so incredible. I didn't see a world where they'd be 3-0. I'm surprised based off the schedule. You look at Cincinnati's start to the season. The Patriots are supposed to be one of the worst teams in football. They run the ball all over Cincinnati. You lose to the Chiefs, okay, and then you lose on primetime to a rookie quarterback who is obviously playing out of his mind. He played awesome last night. Crazy stat, and let me pull it up. In 3 career games, Jaden Daniels has now had 2 games where his team scored on every possession minus kneel downs. In 3 career games, 2 of them he's had it. When you take this other stat, ready? Brady, Breeze, Peyton, and Mahomes combined to do that twice in 1,094 starts. Jaden Daniels has done it twice in his first 3. So he's playing out of this world, but that's a stretch where the Bengals, I thought, had to capitalize, and for them to be 0-3, pretty surprising. Luckily for the Browns, I don't think the Steelers are a juggernaut, and being 2 games back to Pittsburgh is not an insurmountable lead. But if the Browns don't start playing significantly better, it doesn't matter if it's a 1-game lead. In baseball, if it was a half-game lead, if they play like they have through 3 weeks, they're not winning the division, regardless of who's in first place after 3 weeks.
They better start. It's a point in time where you got to start looking at your own self. It don't matter what's going on in the division. You ain't good enough to be looking at standings right now. You're not. Like they better concentrate on being able to pick up simple twist and tech stunts. That's what they need to do. Running the football, securing the football in the breadbasket. That's what they need to worry about. No division stuff. Hey, when you run a slant and the ball hits you between the 1 and 9, bring that in for us, big fella. Bring that in for us. That's what they need to worry about.
I mean, that ain't wrong. The sick thing is we doing all this bad shit. They gonna put up like 30 points though.
I hope. I wish.
It's possible. You saw Carolina do it.
If there's a
put up like
defense
30
to
points,
break out
man.
against, it is Carolina.
Dustin, I'm telling you.
I wish we had Chuba Hubbard right now, though. Man,
this is
Would you
the
take
problem.
Andy Dalton right now, Dustin?
yes.
This is the
Run
problem.
The ball, man. Just run the ball. It's really bothering me. The teams that's really becoming like successful is running the ball right now.
I'm gonna speak for the fans a little bit. I can see why the fans be salty. I can see why the fans be booing. Because here's the thing. I listen, I'm an emotional creature as myself. And if you were to watch that game yesterday in Washington, Dustin, you just saw Jaden Daniels look like a beast. But then you just watched the game where Sam Darnold is just him now. Then you watched another game where Andy Dalton, I think both of y'all played against Andy Dalton. That's how old he is. I think both of y'all got snaps against Andy Dalton, and he throws for 300 plus. And then you go down to the Huntington Bank Stadium and you watch your Cleveland Browns toss the ball around for 46 yards and multiple sacks. After a certain period of time, you think, I'm tired of getting punked. I'm tired of getting punked right now. And I'm watching all these other games where people is running wide open, touchdowns are coming aplenty from the heavens, and we are sitting here with more sacks and more penalties and more turnover. It's just after a while, it get annoying. And you start to be like, you know what, this whole thing, I'm starting to re-question the whole situation. Shut the whole cookie operation down. I don't know if we got a coach, a coordinator, a quarterback, an offensive line, nothing. After you start seeing other dudes ball out that you seen be terrible, Tyvis, you feel a certain type way, don't you?
Gee, I mean, I do. Yes, to answer your question, yes, I do feel in some type of way. But to me, it boils back down to the whole situation where I think they just tried to make something happen that realistically it's not happening. You know, it boils down to the decision to go get Deshaun. Where I'm laughing. Why is he doing? Don't make me laugh. It boils down.
You want me to jump it? You want me to save you?
No.
Give your boy a raft. Give him a paddle right now. This is wild.
Because it boils down to the decision. Because I think about the two opposite ends of the play style of the play style of Deshaun and the coaching of Kevin. Like those two don't match, and I just feel like that those two, you get them two in the same building, and you say, you know what, make it work. We pay you both enough money, so make this thing work. And to me, it just seems like it's two people that don't really want to conform. And don't get me wrong, Kevin he's tried the most. I think out of both of those two, I think he's tried the most to try to conform his thoughts, but it's just not. It's not it. Like, and you can't fire neither one because you're paying both of them, and both of them are really good without each other. Like Deshaun in Houston was really good. Kevin Stefanski without Deshaun was still really good. So it's like if you put them together, it should work, and it's just not. And that's just kind of where we are right now. And I'm not giving up on the experiment because they could come out after they drop this 30 points on Sunday. Y'all gonna be like, "Oh, we back." So they got to figure it out, though.
Well, I mean, listen, guys, I don't want to be like every single week talking about the Browns. Like, you know, we live on this roller coaster ride where 1 week, like they play like the Cowboys game, which was garbage, and then they come back, they play well, and then they play this game, And then if they score 30 against Vegas, like Tyvus thinks that they're going to do this weekend, we're going to come in Monday and be like, oh man, we're going to be sitting at 2-2. And we're like, who the hell are we? Like, we don't even know what this team is. This team, I've never seen a team lack an identity quite like this Cleveland Browns team. Because they want to be a tough-nosed team, hard-nosed team that runs the rock. They can't. They want to be able to be this flashy team and have motions and be the Kansas City Chiefs. They can't do it. They can't block it. They don't have the horses. You know, missing Njoku's huge. Missing Chubb is huge. Again, they've got to figure something out because they're sort of, you know, their hands are tied behind their back right now with what they can do. Find out something you do well and do that. Can we just do that?
I couldn't have said it no better. That's all we want, man. Find me one or two things, bro, that you do well, and build off that. You gotta, you know how it is when you're getting blown out by somebody and somebody say, guys, throughout the first 3 quarters, we're starting next week right now. We're gonna find something in this fourth quarter that we do well. We're gonna run the ball, or we're gonna find some positive things. We got like a stop somewhere. Like, we're gonna find something that we gonna hypnotize ourselves with and give us some hope that we can get this thing turned around next week. But if you don't, if you can't find none of it, and I'm not trying to be doom or gloom, I just think, Dustin, we've been doing this thing for 14, 15 years, doing radio stuff and covering the Browns, and all the people want is consistent.
All pro or hell no, man.
And we've been saying hell no all the time. The whole
hell to the no.
Hell to the no. No, we're not gonna get this win. No, we're not gonna get. We just
y'all,
want competent play.
Do y'all think that this right here? If I'm Nick Chubb, don't you think this kind of puts pressure on him to like try to ramp it up to try to come back maybe a little bit early? But see, I don't want that though.
It's not fair to Nick Chubb.
Yeah, but like
it certainly is a factor.
That's weak.
You about to
have this man come out there 1 or 2 weeks early to try to save y'all.
It's not.
Y'all just said about Jed Wills. Why don't y'all say it about Jed? He tried to come and save us, right?
It's not just Chubb, but it's Miles playing through injuries. A lot of these guys. Aditi's gonna hop on in 1 sec. So I want to get these super chats out of the way real quick before we get Aditi on the show. First one comes from Pranav Karoti. Says Browns are taking AFC teams different than the NFC teams. You'll see a jumbo package, Stefanski offense against the Raiders, more than RPO stuff. Love UCSS. Oshi Bashar. By the way, shout out to Oshi. He's in the Beartooth band. I'm not a giant metal fan, but Anthony is a giant metal fan. He's apparently a big deal. So shout out to Oshi, who is Cleveland.
I'm trying to come to a concert to be in the mosh pit.
He was in Columbus last week, Anthony said.
What? I'm trying to get it. You don't want to jump in the mosh pit. You just be jumping.
I'm saying they headlined the show in Columbus last week. Or they just announced the Columbus headline show. Okay. So they're coming to Columbus. Shout out to Oshi. I said, why did we abandon Foreman after he was successful in week 2? Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense, Oshi. That is the answer. 2 carries after that performance against Jacksonville. It is tough to understand. I see Aditi in the wing, so we will get these last 2 ones in here. Then I will drop out and bring Aditi in. Mincy Fart says, not going to lie, I hate to say it, but it's time to think rebuild. Time to draft Arch Manning, LOL. And William Slater says, Tyvus, do you really believe the Browns can run the ball behind this pathetic O-line?
I do, because I think that the thing about it's a difference between asking somebody to pass pro and the run block. Run block, you taking the fight to them. Pass pro, you standing back and letting the fight come to you. So I think if you know that these guys aren't that good, at least let them take the fight to the defense, at least run the ball so they can be aggressive, because trying to back up and trying to catch somebody, it just ain't what they good at.
And Ant says Beartooth and Oshi are headlining a show in Columbus in January, so we may have to take a UCSS trip down to the mosh pit. For that, I'm going to drop out, and we're going to welcome Aditi Kinkhabwala to the.
Hey, my friends.
Hello.
I apologize for my appearance. We actually had, this is like so scary. I can't help but share it. Apparently, somebody on social media in our town allegedly threatened to shoot up the high school. And so they changed today to virtual schooling for our entire school district while they like chase this down and try to figure out what it is and make sure the kids are safe. But because of that, if you hear whining in the background, that's my 9-year-old whining about his schoolwork that he now has to do remotely. And I am late in my day. There you go. But I hope that's a valid reason.
Yeah. We don't have. You can go. Oh my goodness, that sounds like you have a lot going on.
No. All good. I just feel like I need to tell you why I'm in like my sweaty run clothes because I haven't had a chance to, pretty up for all of you yet. Anyway,
well, you look better than all of us, so at least work well for.
You're the best, G. You've always been my favorite.
Oh, man, I try to. I
feel slighted here. I feel slighted.
You listen, Dustin. See, y'all talked on the radio for years. What you understand is now it's the internet. We get to see each other so that the bond builds quicker. Like it's just the way it is.
Seriously. And Dustin, you dropped me for years. You like kind of disappeared on me for a long time. And I brought the love talking about white cornerbacks 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I'm trying.
Well, are you kidding me? I'm the biggest Aditi fan in the world. I follow everything that you do. I watched your game on Sunday.
Well, Aditi, you got to come pull up into studio when we get that back up and going there.
Sure. If I ever get a game in Cleveland, we'll see, right? Who knows? Well, the way things are going.
I'm about to say, you want to come to Cleveland and watch this stuff, right?
Hey, can you cheer us up? Because right now, like I'm usually drinking the Kool-Aid, but after last week, man, I'm just questioning so much right now. I just don't see. I asked Mary Kay, I said, I don't see what they do well. I don't. I asked her this question, do you believe in having an identity? Because for me, I saw the Baltimore Ravens run the ball 40-some times against the Cowboys and just say, this is what we're going to do. And I've seen what the Steelers have done with Justin Fields, just playing the way the Steelers do. It's just for us, I don't know what that is. And right now when we're struggling, we can't do 2 or 3 things well and build off of it and try to build something. What do you say about the identity crisis of the Cleveland Browns? Or do you even think they got one?
Okay, so there's a lot there, and I have a lot to say, but because I was on my my crew call, I missed it. What did Mary Kay say? Did she say that there is anything that is being done well right now?
She said, well, she doesn't believe that you need an identity. I mean, you just need to do whatever you're going to do well. Like you can throw the ball a lot one week, and then the next week you can come back and run the ball a lot. Not necessarily that you need to be able to do one thing specifically all the time from game to game. And I guess I pushed back a little bit and said, well, we're not doing anything well. We can't, we're not running the ball. We're not protecting. We need something that we can build to say, hey guys, let's start with this. And we need to move the ball this way to get us on track.
Gee, I agree with her in that it's not about having the same formula every week. It's, true balance, for example, offensively, is not being 50% pass and 50% run every single week. It's being able to pass when you need to pass. It's being able to run when you need to run. And that is game to game within a game. That's like in the fourth quarter, if you need to run the ball to run out the clock, you need to be able to run the ball. That's balance. So I buy that part. But I do think that teams need an identity to hang their hats on. And, I'll tell you, this past week, I was with the Panthers and the Raiders, and Antonio Pierce was talking about this, that as exciting as the Raiders win over the Ravens was the week before, he said, our identity is not throwing the ball 40 times a game. Even Gardner Minshew said that. He said, our identity needs to be physical, needs to be aggressive, needs to be able to take it at you. And we need to be running the ball at least 20, 25 times a game. And it's not working for them yet, but that's what they want to be. And that's what they want to hang their hats on. You're talking about the Steelers. Well, the Steelers have won ugly. The first 2 weeks they've won ugly. They're starting to open things up a little bit more. But you know what? Like, that's their identity. We're going to play great defense. We're going to outlast you. We're going to control the clock, and we're not going to make mistakes. Okay, so lean into who you are. And I think the thing with the Browns is that as well as they have run the ball, as amazing as I think Nick Chubb is, we know that in this offseason, there was an organizational directive to augment this pass game and grow that pass game. And so clearly we're not seeing the returns of any of that just yet. I think a huge piece of that is that this offensive line hasn't been healthy in any way. An even bigger piece of that is that this group just hasn't played together. I mean, they didn't play together in the preseason at all. They're still trying to get its legs underneath it, or they, them, whatever. I need to make all my tenses match. But I don't know. But this is where I'm really old school. I understand that some people think that big, high-flying pass games are exciting. I think that fans can find brutalizing physical run games, enormous hard-hitting defenses exciting too. And I think that when you talk about the AFC North, when you talk about Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, those fan bases love grinded out physical teams. And so I don't like, if something's working for you, it's working for you. But again, this is not why I'm paid the big bucks. This goes to somebody else. The decision was made to pass more and spread the ball more and spread the offense more. So we're seeing the growing pains of that because it hasn't yet taken.
Do you think that Kevin and Deshaun just don't match? Do you just think that, because that's what it looks like? It comes off as like those two's philosophies just don't match.
You know, the only thing I'd say there, Tyvis, is that I really truly believe Kevin when he says he wants to do what the quarterback likes. So, you know, Kevin Stefanski is not a man who's a slave to a scheme in any way. It's not like I will only run this and that's what I want to run. It's not like these are my favorite red zone plays, so these are the plays I'm going to call in the red zone. I really, truly believe that he is trying to play to his players' strengths, and he wants to meet Deshaun where Deshaun is. I don't know that we've seen the magic yet. But I don't think it's fair to say that they're just not puzzle pieces that fit, because I really do think that Kevin Stefanski is trying very hard to meet Deshaun where he is.
Yeah, no, I get that. It is part of it though, because it's like, you know, I want to say maybe recently, Aaron Rodgers, when he was with Nathaniel Hackett, everything was great, MVPs and all that. He had a season with Matt LaFleur. It kind of wasn't the same. He gets back with Nathaniel Hackett. Boom, he's throwing for whatever he did on Thursday night. So it's just like I was saying, like those two, maybe those guys aren't peanut butter and jelly like that. You know, that's all I was saying.
I mean, they're different people. Like, you know this, right? Like Dustin, you've played with coaches that you're like, this is my kind of guy. Like, this is, we kind of look at football the same way. We like jive. And then you've like, Tyvis, you know this. Like, sometimes you're just like, you're different people. That doesn't mean that you can't work together. I mean, I'll give you another one. Davante Adams and I were talking this weekend about, you know, like Gardner Minshew, the Raiders quarterback. He's just a different dude. Okay. He's just different than anybody else that plays quarterback in the National Football League. And Davante said to us, he's like, so what? He's like, I worked 10 years with Aaron Rodgers and we are a lot different. Just because you're different doesn't mean that you can't make it work, that you can't get on the same page where you need to get on the same page, but we just haven't seen it yet. I don't think it's philosophical. I don't think it's personality. I wouldn't point to that. I don't want to say what I'm going to point to. I'm just going to keep that to myself. But I don't think it's philosophy, and I don't think it's personality.
Hey, listen, I be telling that I love when people be making business decisions. I don't gotta don't you try to peer pressure me. We ain't doing that.
Protect the bag at all costs.
At all times.
Well, we all have to make business decisions at some point, right? Come on now.
No, there's no doubt. No doubt. Well, last week it seemed like Vegas made some business decisions, bid-ass decisions. So where are we at with Vegas now? I mean, you covered them. That was an interesting game. You know, Carolina comes in and played great with Dalton at quarterback. So I don't know. I felt like a trap game for Vegas because they come off the big Ravens upset. and then they have to come back and play Carolina in a spot where everyone in the world thought that Carolina would lose that game. Well, now they're sitting there probably looking at the Browns like a get-right game for them.
So a few things here. Number one, it's sort of criminal that after those 9 years in Cincinnati, Andy Dalton didn't have another chance. He's like quietly toiled in Dallas and New Orleans. Last year, he got one start and he lit it up in that one start. But anybody who's actually been around the Panthers could tell you that, his ball has zip. He has that presence. The experience is immediately obvious in the huddle. Andy Dalton is not a washed up, done. Like, even if Zach Taylor was ready to move on from him, Andy Dalton still has ball in him. He also is at that perfect point in his career where he's 14 years in, and he didn't know if he'd ever get a chance. So he gets to play with a level of freedom that he's never had before in his life, right? Like, the way that he put it to me is that earlier in his career, he was always worrying, like, okay, what's next? What's next? What does this mean for my career? Is this going to turn to this? Now, like, he doesn't know if he's ever going to get another chance. So you lose nothing by going out there and balling. Next, the Panthers were really, really close. It was something as silly as just giving a play a half second more so it could develop. And Bryce Young, who truly, truly, truly is a genuinely wonderful young man, I mean, his confidence has been shot. He has nothing to stand on. And so he was just getting rid of the ball a little too soon. And if you would watch film, you'd see like the play was there if he could have waited half a second. Well, Andy's got that veteran experience to wait half a second. The Panthers were actually a lot closer and have a lot more talent than you would realize. So there was all of that. And then the biggest piece was, you're sitting the guy that's supposed to be your future and your franchise quarterback 2 games in. If that doesn't wake up the entire locker room, if that doesn't give the entire locker room a sense of urgency that nobody is safe, well, then I don't know what else could. So obviously the Panthers had all of that going for them internally, no matter what people were seeing on the outside. And then as for the Raiders, I like AP a lot. I just love that he has no ego about what he's doing. He is following his mentors in Tom Coughlin and Marvin Lewis, and he is the CEO head coach. He is trusting his coordinators and his coaches to coach. He's trying to do the big picture thing. I watched it from the sideline as like he's trying to juice his guys that quite frankly just didn't have the same energy, which is crazy that in their first game home, coming off that big win. But I think a big piece of it was the Panthers going down on the first drive and scoring on them. And even bigger than that is that Max Crosby just wasn't himself. He tweaked his ankle. They kept insisting to us all week that it was just a tweak, that Max was fine. Then we saw that Max wasn't playing every snap. The previous week, he played every single snap, which is insane for an edge rusher. I actually asked Antonio Pierce in our live first quarter interview, what's going on with Max? And he just insisted, we're just being smart. That's it. But clearly he was limited in some way. And Max Crosby is the engine that drives that ship. And if he's not full force, if he's not out there, if he's not able to get into that rhythm of constantly being out there, I think it bleeds into the entire team. I would be very surprised if they were to come out similarly flat, dead, whatever cliche you want to use this week. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you that Antonio Pierce is telling his team that Browns team is not solving its problems against us. Having said that, the Browns could go in there, and if they could play up to their potential, do what they want to do. I mean, Gardner Minshew is unbelievably streaky. He had a terrible game. This offensive line just can't seem to block. They can't get their run game going. So there are things to be done. It's not like, oh my gosh, this is an impossible matchup, but again, the Browns need to get right. I agree with you guys.
It sounds like both teams are in the same boat. You talk about Max Crosby being hurt, Miles is hurt. They can't figure it out. The Browns can't figure it out. So whoever figures it out first is going to win this game.
Tyvis, I'm just glad I'm not on that game. I'll tell you. We've seen some terrible offensive football the first 2 weeks of the season. Let somebody else manage that one.
What is the biggest, just league-wide, just in a big, big picture, what has surprised you the most this season? We've seen rookies playing very well. We've seen the quarterback play be down in terms of yardage. teams like the Bengals are 0-3 week to week. We don't know what we're getting. From your perspective, what has been the most interesting part of the first 3 or 4 games of the season?
I mean, I think what is the number? How many AFC teams have a winning record? Like, to me, the AFC is the better conference, is the dominant conference, is the conference that has all the star quarterback power. And yet, like, you look through the league and AFC team, what is it? Is it only 8 AFC teams that have a winning record? I might be making that up. I can look it up, but I hate like looking down at my phone while we are talking to each other. But
I
like
got
6, is that it? Yeah. I mean, there's 7
With winning records?
No, there's 6. You're right.
6
AFC teams with a winning record. How insane is that? And that Cincinnati and Jacksonville
cannibalizing
and Tennessee,
themselves.
Yeah, and then like the mess in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, who 2 years ago they were the darlings of the NFL. Trevor Lawrence, and like you're just seeing the star rise under Doug Peterson, and then what's
he had
going
that comeback
on there?
win in the playoffs, and they played. And they went to Kansas City, played tough for a couple quarters. You're like, oh, he's next.
Exactly. That's crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, it's just, but again, like I keep saying the same thing, and I sound like such an old curmudgeon when I say it, but like play in the preseason. Like the purpose of the preseason is to get ready for the season, and nobody is ready. So it's just like a lot of junky football right now.
Where are you at this week?
I'm in Indianapolis. Somebody is talking to me. My watch might be telling me I'm screaming too much. I'm in Indianapolis. I have the Steelers, the very surprising 3-0 Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts, who have a young quarterback who can't seem to get on track just yet, despite winning this last week. So we have the 3-0 Steelers at the 1-2 Colts, and it should be interesting.
It's wild. I can't figure these teams out. I can't figure them out.
But you know what, guys? I should be on in your market, right? You should be able to watch me. Do you guys get when Cleveland is the 4:00 game? Do you get the Steelers at 1:00?
Yes.
Yes.
Or do you get the
it depends. It depends who else is playing. We typically get a divisional game.
Okay. Well, hopefully you have me.
But you know what? I'm going to watch you anyway. Aditi, because you're my favorite.
Aww. Flattery will get you everywhere.
The Bengals do play at 1 too. They play the Panthers at 1.
But see, listen, Dustin. I'm gonna have to step my game up. I might have to make baked goods.
Hey man,
I won't do it. I just have my mom do it. But I gotta be telling my mom, but she's vegan now, so you gotta find a vegan dessert.
I'm vegetarian, just not
so
vegan.
It's you done went all the way out of the game. You done crossed over.
No, I've always been vegetarian. I always like dairy, yogurt, cheese. I can't say bye to that stuff.
Oh man,
the vegan
Aditi, I was in your hood week 1, by the way.
Get out, and you didn't call me? Oh, I was in my hood.
Well, you were.
Why'd you come to Pittsburgh?
I had pits open.
Yeah,
I had pits open.
They favorites, and they don't even link. You see that, G?
Wait, Dustin! I was at that game at Kent State. You called the Kent State game?
Yeah,
I did.
Get out!
Favorites, though.
We were there. We were on the field game.
Come on!
The referee gave my son the coin toss coin, which was unbelievable.
Hey. Oh, you didn't want to come up to the booth and say hi? I mean, you didn't look at the game notes and find out who's announcing the game? And come on.
If I knew you were there, then I would have talked my way up there.
I know.
I got rained on.
I actually feel bad that I didn't know you were there.
Locate. Y'all supposed to know each other's location at all times. Is best.
Share locations with y'all favorites.
That was, you know what? That was my last Saturday home for 18 weeks, and of course, I took my children to a football game. But how about Pitt? Can we talk about Pitt for a minute? Because how about Pitt?
We can. Yeah. I mean,
Narduzzi got Eli Holstein.
Eli Holstein, baby.
Never heard.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll get to keep him, or if NIL money will lure him someplace else.
No, I think he's pretty happy. He came from Alabama, and he loves it at Pitt, and he loves it. So I met his parents.
Oh.
I saw his parents at Serafino's on Friday night.
Oh, get out. So fun.
I swear.
Hey, Serafino's, look, I went in, sound like one of the restaurants that ain't got no prices. You just go in and you just hope. You just it was a little hole in the wall. It was a hole in the wall that Narduzzi sent us to. It was good.
Shout out to Narduzzi.
Yeah, shout out to him. Man. He's still cool. That's crazy. He's still cool.
Yeah, well, we gotta Coach Narduzzi and I have to work on some of his media. What do we call it? Media interactions.
Yeah,
you got work with him.
That's not shocking.
He's always good. He's always good in production meetings.
I mean, he's fantastic. I love him. I just don't love that after the backyard brawl, the first thing he did was talk about the refs. So
yeah, no, I hate when coaches do that. Yeah, who knows?
That's okay. His kids are playing. Those guys are playing so well. I'm so excited for the resilience that they've showed. 2 big come from behind wins over Cincinnati and West Virginia, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Good.
I don't know that they needed to hang 73.
Hey, the ACC is wide open. The ACC is wide open.
Yeah, you're the expert on this. I just cheer.
I just had Duke on Saturday.
Well, you know what, Dustin? If you go out to Vegas, Luke Getsy, who's the Raiders' offensive coordinator, is a Pitt man. And before Eli Holstein, he was the last freshman to start at quarterback for Pitt.
Look at that nugget.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gene
man,
Clivis have like tuned us out. They're like, if you want to talk about
they're
Ohio
out of
State,
here.
pay attention.
If it ain't Ohio State or Big Ten related,
You know, I will say Ohio State kid, Jonathan Cooper, that I met week 2 in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Great young man. Breakout year last year. I think he's going to have another monster year. He definitely speaks well for Ohio State. And Justin Fields is one of yours. Aren't you excited about Justin Fields?
Yeah,
I'm very excited about Justin Fields. So is Thomas.
All right, we getting yelled at. We got to wrap.
Yeah, we got to go.
Right.
We got to go, Didi.
And by the way, Didi,
guys.
your internet is you paying that high speed broadband right now. You got that fiber optics right
You
now.
know what? I got to tell you, my internet is like Gardner Minshew. It's apparently very streaky. But I think it's StreamYard. Like, I think StreamYard is better than vMix for me.
Yeah, StreamYard loves you.
So hopefully whatever you are doing with your vMix is going to fix things for me.
Yeah. So we glad to have you, Didi.
I
So
will hold my breath on that.
Take care. Tell your kids to have a great day off. I don't know if they got a remote, but they can hang out a little bit.
And
all right.
enjoy
Thanks,
Pittsburgh.
Thanks to Didi.
Appreciate
See you later.
We got 2 super chats to wrap up the show here. First one comes from Reggie Glover, who says, do you think Deshaun's confidence is shot? To me, he sort of plays like it is. Stefanski's confidence is shot too. He second guesses a lot. To me, do you guys agree?
No. I think Deshaun Watson, I mean, he had a couple of scrambles where he kind of looked like Deshaun Watson. Actually, that one was nice. The one was nice when he went
got
down
up and pointed the first down.
Yeah, that was nice. I give him credit for that. I don't think his confidence is shot. I just think he's getting punched in the mouth. His accuracy. Like, look, sometimes Deion Sanders, Coach Prime says this. No one talks about confidence when you're winning. No one talks about chemistry. It's the chemistry. Nah, we just completing passes right now, dog.
Mm-hmm.
And last super chat. G, you could start addressing this one first, but English Bank says this whole episode was loserish. You also OD talking about Dalton praising 0-3 Burrow and the 1-2 Ravens. It's week 3. We'll be fine. Stop with the loser-ish.
Hey, listen, man, we get paid.
Go
ahead, Dustin.
No, I'm just gonna say, like, what are we supposed to do, man? Like, we're gonna bring that loser-ish because the Browns were losers on Sunday. When they score 30, like Tyvis said this Sunday, on Monday we'll be super, super happy. We'll be talking about how the Browns got back on track. But right now it's not looking great. What are we supposed to do? We live in this moment where it's a cycle of 7 days until the next game. So on a Tuesday, we're still upset about how poor we played on Sunday. We're not haters.
No. What you got to do is we call it like we see it for right now, you know. And don't get me wrong, I was the first person to say I'm not panicking or anything. It's week 3, you know. First quarter of the season is about to hit, and they'll figure things out from there. But you asking me my opinion for what I've seen through 3 weeks, it's been bad for 3 weeks. So I mean, what are not 2 of the 3 weeks, I should say. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's all this is.
Hey, man, listen, we've all been in a room where we've lost some games, and our position coaches is yelling at us for the film we put out there. And I would love to see what it looks like if we go to our coach and say, hey, come on, stop the loser-ish. It's the first 3 weeks, coach. What are you talking about? Listen, I know I graded out of the 56% and I missed the tackle and had to contain. But, I mean, come on, bro. Have a little more optimism. That's the world we come from.
Yeah.
We don't come
56%.
We come from a different world where our lives are threatened, literally, because we didn't do what we were supposed to. So I thought we were being kind of nice. We're just telling it like it is. They pay us to talk about what we saw.
Gee, I actually agree with you. I think we could be significantly more critical of the worst rated offense in football by essentially every metric, the worst rated quarterback in football, other than Bryce Young, who got bunched, by essentially every metric, an offensive line that, as G said earlier in the show, was the worst offensive line performance he had ever seen on the All-22, and now they're hurt. I think we could actually be a lot more critical and say the world is over, the season's done, we might as well pack it in now, and I don't think that's the –
No, they winning this Sunday. They're gonna put up 30 points and get to 2-2. That's how do we get to 2? How do we get to 500? That's all that needs to be on the mind.
And when they do that, we will react accordingly. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We are remote again tomorrow and back in studio on Thursday with a brand new VMix computer.
Crispy
for Tyvis, for Dustin, for GM McNuggets. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.